Hello. I've been listening to teachings and thinking about kind of reflecting on how I operate um, as I'm back to work today. Um, and it's interesting to notice, I'm getting it, that there's this mechanism that whose job it is to make sure that you're safe and you're making it. And as we feel less and less safe, like as you go from childhood to adulthood, it kind of takes over in this thing of like, oh, you have to be productive, you have to fit in, you have to keep thinking, so that because experiencing things in the moment doesn't ensure your safety or livelihood. And if we keep listening to this mechanism, um, it makes the point out of everything. And the point is to keep being okay. And that's why it kicks you out of the present moment, because there's no point to the present moment. Being in the present moment doesn't keep you alive. If everything is okay, then you can, survival mode says you can move on to thinking about the next thing because that's more useful. Um, but this mechanism is made to serve life. Life is about just experiencing, it is about the present moment. But that mechanism doesn't know that, and it's not supposed to. Um, it's like a gear turning. The gear doesn't know, like the wheel doesn't know that it's part of a car, and it doesn't know that you're going out to have fun. That's not its job. Its job is just to turn when you go. Um, so letting that mechanism run your life is like letting the wheel drive the car, or letting like I thought of like a secretary telling her boss like what's on his schedule. Like it's like letting her constantly rattle off your schedule to you instead of actually running the business or living your life. Um, so it's interesting to just be noticing this more um, overtly, where it's a secretary peeking out into the door, and it's a more healthy reaction is like, thank you for letting me know that. Have a good one. Thank you for your function. um, Without, because the secretary wants to keep standing in the doorway and rattling off the next thing because it keeps you safe, keeps you going, keeps you safe. And so I was listening. I'll post a link to what I've been listening to all day. And there's a note there where um, he says, this is a paraphrase, but no matter how you're feeling, it's about, no, I want to feel anything other than this. And I'm kind of noticing, I'm interpreting it more like whether or not the current moment is pleasant or unbearable, it doesn't matter. To that mechanism, it's not the point. And we're so used to letting that mechanism run our lives that its job is to say, okay, your livelihood for this moment is taken care of. Therefore, it's not important to pay attention to it. Let's pay attention to what isn't taken care of yet. So if you identify with that mechanism, then you, the person, become someone who's always seeking what's the next thing. And I remembered my grandpa being like this, where we went traveling in Europe, and um, being with him, there was never a landing. It was always about, okay, now that we've established where we're staying, let's go out. We need to get photos here. Okay, we took the photo. We're good. Okay, let's go. And there was no dwelling in the moment with him ever. It was always getting things done. And it's that survival mode. So it's interesting to notice that mechanism be like the doors are opening more, and the curtains are getting pulled back of like to disidentify from this mechanism and to see it as in service of experience. And then it's just taming the nervous system to tune in to this moment and have this moment be enough. And not have there not having to be a point of like, well, I'm not experiencing anything, I'm just sitting here. But to tune into the fullness of the potential of every moment. And then the more still and quiet that I can get, the more that can turn into authentic action. But it doesn't matter because experience, I'm watching the spider climb up the wall. Experience is worthwhile. It doesn't have to have a point, and it doesn't have to look like anything. And there's enough that I have, this is just me justifying, but like I have enough that needs to be cleared just in my body, just space given to feel things in my body, where that can be the full-time activity. And that would already be meaningful. So yeah, it's been interesting to interpret these teachings that I'm hearing and to unveil an understanding that is felt and noticed live. The other feeling that I came across today is I'm recovering from yesterday, where I watched a movie about the Holocaust, and just this, checking in with my emotions and feelings and thoughts. But noticing this thought come up of like, can't you people see if you just allow yourself to feel things, you won't create horrible situations. Let's just feel together and allow each other to exist and feel. Can't you see? So it's this, I'm walking up to this moment of wanting to shake everyone by the shoulders and saying, can't you see the present moment and feeling? It's, the thing of like growing into the wisdom and maturity of walking past that and seeing that, yeah, this is how life is. The can't you see is it's getting past, feeling and also working through this potentially unbearable feeling, that you see the potential for misbehavior, to put it mildly, around you, because you see that people are driven by the wrong thing and they're not allowing themselves the space to feel and to really check into things. And I was just thinking of, all the bad things that people might do. So often it's because they refuse on some level, subconscious or conscious, whatever, subconscious usually, to give themselves the space to feel, accept, and forgive and work through themselves. And in this state, which is very early, state of realization, but this is a very early state of realization. It feels so like, can't you see? But it's like, let's remember, I've been doing this for decades and I didn't see. And I felt right, self-righteous and justified and resentful and vengeful and whatever. And I still have those emotions that they come up. But it's interesting to unpack, like, thinking about big misbehaviors like war, small scale misbehaviors like thinking about my ex, that it's that similar thing of the, there was a talk by Gangaji that I also tuned into today, an old one, that I might post also. Anyway, it's all over the place. That so much misbehavior comes from untamed minds that are run by a mechanism that's meant to serve, not to drive. And we're all missing out on, well, a lot of people are missing out on the experience of being alive and, allowing yourself to feel everything and not to escape and blame others for what you don't have. That lack of love, and that when you feel like something's not fair, that's a really strong driver. And I'm not clear of that either. And that's something to notice and to work through whenever it comes up for me. But yeah, just interesting to notice the light bulbs come up and allowing for things to wash through my body and to really feel a realization and how it functions, to see it's almost like an engineering class. But you hear these teachings repeated over and over, and it sinks in where while it's playing, I'm like opening the mechanism itself and peering in and watching the wheel turn as it's being described to me, of how it turns and how it operates. So I'll post the link of what I'm talking about. But I'm really thankful for this exposure to things being described in a way that I feel like I can relate to. Because it's so funny. It's just felt like I'm just really thankful. Just walking around lost in the world, being like, what what are we doing? It's nice that, this is such an old notion, these things, and to be bumping into them, and it's both interesting and silly. It feels silly to, be coming across these teachings, in this moment, I guess, because they've been around for a long time, longer than me, and I've been around for a long enough time that it's interesting that I'm just now really sinking into these. And it's crazy that it's great that they're becoming more and more widespread, but not so much that, for the, like, most people haven't heard this stuff, or it doesn't register for them. So yeah, I'm in this moment right now, I think, of wanting to shake the world and myself by the shoulders of like, can't you see? I'm so thankful that I'm going dancing tonight at my ecstatic dance group. I'm so thankful for this community that's like keenly in tune with this stuff. And I realized that the third thing that I came across in my mind is like, what's the difference between sitting alone and doing this work and sitting in a retreat or with my dance people? It's that human connection. I think that's the thing that everyone can agree on. That seems to be the worthwhile thing to stick around in. And those are the people who are really bad at relationships, who can't dwell in the moment at all, um, can't allow for that connection. But I think most people understand that. That's such a worthwhile thing. Um, and when I've heard stories of shifts, ones by which I was moved the most are ones where there's a vulnerability with others and not just a digging into yourself. Um, those were the most touching, and maybe because that's what I'm kind of both longing for and most afraid of, um, like human connection and being seen. Um, so I'm so thankful for this community that I'm going to go see tonight, and also to remember that can be like how to motivate myself to do this work with myself, like to create my own community and to really dip in. And just because I'm by myself, it's not like, well, what am I doing, um, because that connection, um, I don't know, to create that and to tap into that even when I'm on my own, and to create the worthwhileness of it, and to value my own company. It's this like, well, who am I hanging out with? Hanging out with me. Um, yeah. Interesting that my tolerance is going up for focusing more on uh, just being with these teachings and just um, focusing in on them. And it's just that kind of day, and accepting that. Until next time.